Well, summer, it's just 36 days away. Social media is full of diet plans, weight loss trends, and hacks aimed at getting your bod ready for the beach. Well, we've all seen all sorts of methods, from low carb, high protein, midday fasting, you name it, the internet's got it. If you're contemplating a diet change, experts say it's important really to keep your health on top of mind. So today, we're joined by Dr. Joey Skelton with Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist. He's a pediatrician and obesity medicine specialist. He's going to be answering your diet and food related questions. So here's how you get your question to our expert today. You text us that question, the number 336-379-5775. It's on the bottom of the screen, and we'll be answering that live on air. All right, so Dr. Skelton, let's just start off with the whole fad diets thing. Can you name some of the popular ones and why they may not be the ones that we may need to be trying?
Well, if I can tell you, if it shows up on TikTok or a celebrity is hawking it, you probably can just not really pay attention to it. But some of the big ones you're always going to see will be things such as keto and paleo. Unless you have an allergy to gluten, avoiding gluten is not going to do that much else for you. And overall, if it's something that sounds too good to be true, it's based on one research study, and like I said, you see it on social media, it's probably going to be able to lump it into a fad diet category.
Okay, and when they say fad diet, and that's because what, you cannot sustain that kind of diet long term?
And actually that's absolutely, it's something either that they tell you to do short term to get some weight loss or to improve health, or if it's something that seems very restrictive, or you're giving up a whole category of food that you would normally think would be good for you, things such as fruit. And giving things up like that. If you're giving up whole categories of food, it seems to be something very restrictive. Again, it's probably something that overall is not going to be very good for you.
All right, so a lot of people have been doing this thing, and they've been swearing by it by a lot of people here at work, and it's intermittent fasting.
Right.
All right, so tell us what that is for people who kind of have heard about it but don't know really what it is, and then what that does.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different versions out there, but overall it's where you fast for a period of time or eat on a certain schedule, and not more than like the schedule I like to eat on, of eating breakfast, lunch, and afternoon snack and dinner, but where you don't eat for 8 to 12 hours and you consume all your calories within a small period of time. I will say, I'll put a big asterisk by that, there may be people that we find in the future that could benefit from that. There's some evidence of people with hard to control type 2 diabetes that may benefit from that type of work, and there is a little bit of evidence. But overall, when we look from a big perspective, it's not really good to try to limit your eating to periods. Most of the time, you need to eat on somewhat of a schedule to eat when you're hungry. And in the larger category of research, intermittent fasting overall doesn't seem to be that beneficial. And the main thing is, it's hard to follow that for long periods of time. You'll always meet someone that has been able to follow for a long period of time, but overall, it's not something that people can do for long term.
And is it one of those things, like, because people try different things, and some people just really do well with certain kinds of ways of eating, and if they do well with that and it's not like a hardship for them and their body does well with that, is it okay for them to stick with it?
Yeah, it's one of those things that if your quality of life is still good, you're still eating a well-balanced meal, and your body is getting everything it needs to function, all the vitamins, minerals, protein, carbohydrates, and everything, it can be an okay way to eat for you. But what we get worried about, especially, is when whole categories of food tend to be removed from the diet. That's where it sort of sets you up to not eat a balanced diet, possibly lead into even disordered eating behaviors. But for some people, they can follow an intermittent fasting diet for long periods of time, and if their body's healthy and they're getting a well-balanced diet, it might be okay for them.
Okay. All right, let's talk about weight loss. We hear the words BMI and BMR. What do they mean, and how do they impact like what we eat?
Yeah, so body mass index is it's a screening tool that was developed actually a long time ago, and it's a way to account for what a healthy range of weight in relation to both your gender as well as to your height. Because someone that is 6 feet tall versus 5 feet tall are going to have different body builds, and what is considered a healthy weight for them is going to drastically differ. So it's a calculation that you can do where it's your weight divided in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared, and it gives you a range of what a healthy weight could be. But it's not a perfect measure. It doesn't fully account for your muscle mass, your frame, your build. Some people have broader shoulders, broader hips. Some people have larger muscle mass or lower muscle mass. So it's not a perfect marker of health, but it can give you a good idea of what a healthy weight range would be.
Okay, and we can kind of find that on the internet and other things like that so that you can size your own self up.
You can put a BMI calculator into a search engine, and it will take you to a calculator where and especially for kids, like I care for, that you can put in an age, but for adults, you put in your gender, your height, and your weight, and it tells you what your BMI is, can give you a range. But like I said, it's not perfect, but it can give you a general range because people are just built very differently.
Okay. Well, we are starting to get in our text questions. We'll do one text question before we take it to break. This person's asking, what is the best diet to reduce belly fat? Is there one?
Overall, no. There's not a diet that can lose weight from a specific part of your body. Generally, if you want to lose sort of fat from a different area, it's overall going to be overall decreasing your total body fat. And one thing you always have to take into account when you're doing anything for weight loss, you're always going to lose some muscle mass with that. So that's why, whereas exercise is not as important for weight loss as your diet is, exercise is very important to maintain that lean muscle mass and actually maintain a healthy weight later on. So no specific diet, just to lose weight in a certain part of your body.
Okay. All right. We are taking your food and diet and weight loss questions. The number's at the bottom of your screen, 336-379-5775. We'll be right back.